Jason Stephenson of Jason Stephenson Meditations. And you know what? We started talking. I know there's a lot of other things. I know that he is doing the empowered sleep formula and all of that. So let me make sure that we are on before I start my my video for BitChute and all of that.
You are live on both.
I am live on both. So let me start my recording. Okay, so as I said, we're in for a treat with Jason Stephenson. You will find him on YouTube under Jason Stephenson Meditations. If you haven't seen it, then you're in for a treat when you go to bed tonight. That plus a brain tap, can you imagine what it will do? So fasten your seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together. Here we go. Time.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my purpose to help provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, so excited Jason Stephenson is in the classroom, and he's been so busy that we haven't had him on a regular basis as we used to do in the past. But we are so excited to hear about his adventures and what he's been up to and how we can join his movement, because he is into helping us have a peaceful, mindful mind. And today, more than ever before, we need it, right? And so, as you know, I'm doing the Bible study with Dr. Lorraine Day, and this is something that is so dear to my heart. And I know Jason has signed up for it as well, but he's been doing a course on getting to know the humanism of Buddhism, or humanism of Buddhism. And so I thought, between the mindset, Buddha wasn't a god, but Buddha's mindset was beautiful. And so how do we create this mindset, the mindset of God? How do we get there? And who else other than Jason Stephenson of Jason Stephenson Meditation? I think he's probably at 2 million followers right now. And how honored I am that he is here in the classroom as our teacher. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that my friend Jason Stephenson is here to do just that. Welcome back, Jason, to the classroom.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you very much. It feels like, honestly, since last time we spoke, it's almost like a lifetime has happened in 6 months or 8 months.
Yes.
It really has.
Yes.
It's been amazing. Yeah. So no, it's great to be back here. And yeah, it's a pleasure to see you.
It is always a pleasure to see you.
You look amazing, actually.
Thank you. I'm telling you, whatever is going on today, I'm going to capture it, bottle it up, and then bring you along so that you can say, Lily, you look pretty nice. That was a terrible Australian accent. Only you can do that. But anyway, so as we, because I really do want to have this conversation. We got so many people joining us today from all over the world. I want to make sure that if you have a question for Jason, or if there's something that we talk about today, that you type in a Q, write your question in, and that way we can get to it at some point in the class today. But today we're going to talk about the mindset of God. What do we need to do during these times? Because it could be very scary. It could be very frustrating. But do you think God gets scared? Do you think God gets frustrated? Or do you think that God is God and God works things out for everybody? So he knows, or God knows, because I never say, I say I never say he, but I just said it. But God knows that everybody's going to win at the end. So Jason, when you study the philosophy of God and the mindset of God, what is your overall theme that you get when you are in that moment?
For me, it's about going back to a return to love.
Mm.
And it's something that we need to be reminded about, especially during difficult times. This to come back, to keep coming back, keep pulling us back to love, to love, to love, to love. And we can never be reminded enough, because it's so, especially right now with all that's going on in the world, there's so much, in particular, fear, and also a massive amount of division. It's like everyone has forgotten that we are actually not separate. We're actually not separate, is what I'm trying to say. We are all one.
Mm-hmm.
We're a one, like this big, huge ecosystem, and we're all a part of it. But I think sometimes the media and the government have a way of trying to divide us, and we can fall into that trap. Whether they are trying to do that, I'm not sure, but it's happening. And I see it, I see it every day. And I see even on social media, I've seen comments like, oh, if you don't think like me, unfriend me now. Like, if you don't vote for this person, if you don't vote for that, or if you don't wear masks, or if you don't unfriend me now. And so I really feel this division, and it's sad. And so we need to come back to this, that we are not separate, and it's time to start walking a mile in someone else's shoes as well. Put ourselves, let go of our need to be right. And I'm going to put up my hand, Lily, and I'm going to tell you, I've fallen into this trap myself.
Oh yeah, well, we all
I
do.
fall into this trap, but I have awareness to bring it back and say, hold on a minute, this is not about you.
Mm-hmm.
This is not about whether you're right or wrong. This is about understanding. We all begin to project, right? We all project our stuff onto others. And we need to awaken and realize this and start going, okay, let me just see where this person's coming from. Let's just take a step back and listen and hear. And when we're heard, when we're truly heard, that's all we need. That's all we want, is just to be heard. And that's love. That's when love kicks in.
Okay, there's so much.
I've sort of scattered all over the place there.
I am all over it. I am like, my brain cell went boop, 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 boop. Okay, so as we start, I've been learning the book of Revelation. You've been learning the humanity or humanistic Buddhism. And so they're basically about love, the mindset of God, the mindset of Buddha. Although Buddha was not a god, he professed never to be a god. He did not even want to be idolized.
That's right.
He had, Buddha had learned through trial. He had a very, very, he could have had a very, very easy life. But Buddha chose to learn from his own experience and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with that, because, Buddha, unlike God, God, we're talking about purification. And And so the first thing I want to talk about is the trials, our trials that we go through in life. And I was saying this yesterday in our Bible study with Dr. Lorraine Day, that, we can't go through the trials anymore when you don't have the mindset of God. I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. When you have the mindset of God, going through the trials takes on a different meaning than when you don't have the mindset of God. When you don't have the mindset of God, or as you studied with Buddha, everything is that so? It is what it is. We're going to, regroup. If we can do something to change it, we will change it. If we need to take a stand, we will take a stand. But when you know, Jason, that everything that happens to you has purpose, how different is that when you're thinking that it's poison or somebody's doing something to you?
That's like the little the whispers of God. And I was just thinking about this morning, that we can look at this two ways. We can look at this as though this is that, there is a lot of evil and terrible things, people wanting to do terrible things, but we can, and that may be so, but we can even rise above that on a spiritual level. And I think Wayne Dyer has, written a book, A Spiritual Solution to Every Problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is the case, that as I was speaking about with the division, this COVID-19 has brought out a lot of division.
Yeah.
But this has also brought out a gift to us. And maybe it's the gift of awareness that we as a society have been divided for so long, so many divisions, so many borders, so much going on.
Yep.
And we've forgotten to love deeply and to care for each other and to walk a mile in each other's shoes. And quite possibly that we can now say, okay, what's the message here? Where's this deeper message? And instead of focusing on that fear, what can we do about it to make this world a better place?
Mm-hmm.
How can we love more? What can we do? How can we be of service? So, and this can be, we can do this, when I say walk a mile in another's shoes, well, what does that mean? Well, basically what we can be doing, Lily, is if we're having trouble empathizing with others, next time we walk out on the street, and try this because it really works, is when we're walking out on the street, if you want to connect with people, you don't have to say anything, but it comes from in here. Mm-hmm. If you just say mentally repeat a mantra, look someone in the eyes and just say, look them in the eyes and just say, I see you and I love you. Mm-hmm. Just, I see you and I love you. Total stranger. And just those deep connections, you might just be amazed that people feel that. People feel that. If you feel that, no words have to be spoken. You can walk into that room with love, and we've all known that when we're at a party, you can feel energy shift and change when people come into a room, and it can feel good or it can feel unsettling, and this is how we can contribute. Starting to just working on our own hearts and to give to others through not even saying words, just through being. And it's such a beautiful thing. And people get it. People really get it.
You and I talked the last time we were together about Ho'oponopono. And you had done a Ho'oponopono a long time ago. And as you know, I started a group called I Am 99. The I Am 99. I woke up one day thinking, how does the 1% of the 1% control the 99%? Remember, we talked about this last time we were together. I had just thought of this, and I started thinking division. If first it was whether you're a Gentile or a Jew. Okay, now we're at 49%. If you're black or white, oh, now we're at 25%. If you're gay or straight, oh, now we're at 12%. If you're, so they keep diluting us. Now Black Lives Matter, no Black Lives Matter. Now you wear a mask, you don't wear a mask. Now we're at like 1%. So it's a lot easier to control us. And so what I did is I created the I Am 99 Facebook group. And what we do, it doesn't matter what you believe in. We need to find commonality, which is our freedom. We're losing our freedom. And how do we do that? Whether it's freedom of religion or freedom of choice for your body. They say, my body, my choice if you want to have an abortion, but they don't say my body, my choice if I don't want to be vaccinated. So we are able to go into this one place and I've had to be very careful with who I let in because they have to answer 3 questions. And we did our first meeting, and the only thing that we thought we could do is pray. So we do Ho'oponopono at 5:00 every day, anywhere around the world. As they say, it's 5:00 somewhere. And so why not be a transmitter of that love that you're talking about?
That's so good. I'm so glad to hear that. Really, that's a beautiful Facebook group. I'm off Facebook a lot more now than what I used to be.
Yeah.
Just pulling back a bit, and had to protect myself, because I felt a lot of some stuff going on there. But what a beautiful concept, Lily. That's what we need to do more of, is to get together and pray and be still or meditate, all of this. Yeah.
Yeah. And last night we learned in our Bible study, and for those of you who want to learn more about the Bible study, we're in a 12-week course, and we just did week 7. So we're live with Dr. Lorraine Day. And if you haven't met Dr. Lorraine Day, she is an incredible woman, someone who I attribute a lot of my growth to. And she has studied the book of Revelations for over 30 years. And she's comparing it to what's happening today. So not only do we get the history, but what the symbolism mean. So you're welcome to go to the New Truth series at whenyouneedafriend.com, and you're welcome to join us at any time so that you can be a part of this growth. But, as last night she said, only 2% of children today, they did a study, and we don't know about these polls and who they ask, but 2% of children don't believe in God. So 2% believe in God. And 9% worldwide of adults, 9% believe in God. So what's happening is she's talking about communism taking over the world, and communism, as she says, and I'm going to quote her a lot because that's the study I've been doing right now. She says that communism is the story of creation without God. So they're eliminating God from us. So we're learning a lot in this study, and it's waking many of us up. But here's the thing, there's a lot of that division and that poking in the eye. And I'm going through it right now with very important people in my life. I'm going through it, and it's very, there's something wrong that was done. It's like, consequences follow. No matter what you do. And if we allow wrong to be unnoticed or and I'm not talking about wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. I'm talking about health and abuse and taking care of special people in your life. And if you just sit back and go, no big deal, I'm just going to love them. No, sometimes you got to take a stand and say, I'm going to love that person from afar, but they're not going to hurt the people I love. So how do you deal with that? Have you ever had to do that?
I think I remember, I might have said this to you last time about that some advice I got from a master healer when I was in India in March. And she said to me, because I asked the question, I was confused about, when Buddhist terminology about loving all people and that, and when do we take a stand? And so I said to her, I feel strongly about whatever it was at the time. And I just said, do I stand up, or should I just accept and maybe through my love that this can help change things? And she said to me, Jason, she said, there's a time to sit and be still on the meditation mat, and there's a time to rise up. And she said, and I can see now is a time to rise up. She said, if someone was coming into your place and with a machine gun, would you try to fight? Would you try to get away, or would you just stay there and not protect your family? And I absolutely got where she was coming from. And so, yes, there is a time, Lily, to have to take a stand, and it's going to hurt some people.
Mm-hmm.
Then but yeah, I mean, I've been having discussions with my brother about this because we both think on similar wavelengths, and my brother was actually almost arrested in Sydney just by sitting in a park.
And what was he doing? He wasn't exposing himself, was he?
No.
Of course, that would be the only reason I would think somebody would get arrested in a park. What did he do?
Sydney we're still allowed to protest in Australia. He was protesting against about Victorians being in ultra lockdowns and stuff. And so, but he didn't do anything. He was sitting there with a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
He was not doing anything wrong. This is in Sydney.
Yeah.
And the police come up to him and said, what are you doing here? Who are you with? And Matt was on his own. He come up on his own to that park. And he said, you're with that group. And Matt said, I'm not with that group. I've actually come up here on my own. And he just said, you will be under arrest if you don't move. And Matt just said, I am not doing anything wrong. And he just said, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you now, move or you'll be under arrest. And,
why? And we're allowing this to happen. Why? And we're allowing this to happen. Why?
And that's what, it's kind of heartbreaking, because I know my brother's passionate about humans and people and his family. And this is why he's doing some of this standing up, because but he was there to show up, just to show his face and to wear his t-shirt that, of freedom.
Yeah.
And they don't like that.
Well, there's a lot of things, Jason, that are happening right now that is much deeper, that we've discussed in the classroom, that is much deeper that we can imagine. And this is the fight of good versus evil. And, and I've been learning that God can do all things. We know that. And no one is out of reach for God. No one is out of the reach of God. And that just makes me feel like, okay, I can let go now. God overrules because God makes everything. And of course, for those of you and us who believe in Jesus Christ, of course, we acknowledge that, but I want to speak to all. I want to speak to all. And so I when I say God, I mean every denomination that I've ever spoken to has God as the overall. And I'm not talking about cults, and I'm not talking about it, but I'm talking about the higher power, whether we call it source or light or energy or God or whatever. God is God. And I love the new God that I'm studying, that no one is out of the reach of God. And we put these limits, like us who believe in God, Jason. This is one of the things that I've been seeing. Every week I tell you that Dr. Day says something controversial. And every week I got to say, okay, we're not here to agree with Dr. Day. We're here to learn from Dr. Day. But she said that everybody will eventually be with God. Oh, especially the Christians. Oh, not this group and not this group and not that group and not that group. And she said, once you accept that you cannot live without God and you reap what you sow, everyone is at the reach of God. Can you imagine that kind of mindset, Jason? To say, I am not going to burn you because you're my kid. And so we talk about this purification. And I don't know, have I ever told you the story of the goldsmith? Have we ever talked about the story of how gold is made?
No.
So
Alchemist or no, I'm
no,
not sure.
so what happens with a goldsmith is that they have the gold, and they heat up the vat, or whatever, the cauldron, or whatever that's called, the pot. And as they heat up the pot, the gold heats up, and all the impurities come to the surface. And then they scrape off the impurities, and that continues. And the goldsmith is done, or the silversmith is done, when they can see their reflection looking back. And
That's
that
beautiful.
and that is when you're talking about going out there and looking at people and saying, I love you, just with your eyes. That frequency goes out, and they can feel it. So, I mean, does that make sense, Jason?
Yes, it does. It's beautiful. I love that. I love that their job's done when they see that pure reflection there.
So when God sees the face of God looking back at
Yes.
God, it's like, okay, do we ever get to that perfection? But in God's eyes, we're good enough.
Yes, yes, yes. I think another thing too, Lily, is we can begin to, if we're having trouble and if we're having these blockages, okay, because and blockages, whether that be through fear or differences of opinion, something else we can offer here is, and this is another thing that works and which helps me too, is just to say it like a mantra type thing.
Okay.
Be still, and you've mentioned this about surrendering, and it could be something like, I surrender and I'm willing to see things in a different light. And what we're doing then is, if we say, I'm willing to see things in a different light, we begin to open our hearts and our minds, and not have to be choose to this ego part of us having to be right. But we're just gently opening our heart space up, and I'm willing. And if we keep saying that, and this is a beautiful thing to do too, if you cannot meditate, because, okay, sometimes we're so stressed, we're so upset, we're so angry, we might not be able to find it in our hearts to meditate, right? It can be, it might be so agitated. But if you can just pull back and just repeat this mantra, I surrender. I'm willing to see things in a different light now. I'm willing to see things in a different light. I surrender. Let go. Let God. Then we're opening up our hearts, and we're then allowing ourselves to hear the whispers of God, and to follow that direction, rather than have to choose to be right all the time.
I love that. Jason, when you were saying, choosing, instead of choosing to be right with God, I just had this image of that being right, and that is more important. And that ego, and Wayne Dyer, I heard Wayne Dyer once say that ego is edging God out. It's just saying, I don't need you, God. I am going to, do this myself. And at that moment, God goes, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. And when we are without God, that's when depression's going to set in, anxiety is going to set in. That's when we start doing things to spite the other person. Like right now, I had mentioned that I was going through something, but I hold no resentment towards that person. I do not hold resentment, but I will protect the vulnerable. I will do everything I can to protect the vulnerable, but I'm not going to let that other person make me be angry with them, because I'm going to send them love. I'm going to send them peace. I'm going to send them joy, because what we send unto them will come back to us. But what if I curse them? What if I say bad things about them? Those things that I sent to them are going to come back to me again.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
And so I wish them well. but I need to love them from afar. And that's very difficult to do when you've known somebody for a long time and you've got to say, no, but I'm not going to change my character because of something that I will not tolerate. Not about being right.
No, and that's about deep respect. That's deep respect for you and for whoever you care for. But that's just an absolute deep love and respect.
Yeah.
And the boundaries, setting up the boundary and saying, no, we can love from afar. We can send them love and love and light and healing. But right now, that's best not in my space. Yeah.
And if we become bitter and angry and resentful and all of a sudden turn into the person that you don't want to be like, and you all of a sudden turn like them, then that's where we give access to disease to enter our body.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm only having a chuckle, Lily, because, I've lost it a few times this year, and I've done exactly sort of that thing, with the fires, for instance, and the fires in January, and then COVID, certain situations, and I've allowed it to overtake me and feel this anger and you're exactly right. It's exactly the person I don't want to be.
That's right. Or the person you're trying to get away from.
Or the person I'm trying to get away from.
We become just like them, but for some reason it's good with me, not good with them.
Yeah. And so do you see, though, that this is where I think that this is the whispers of God, that these things that have happened, it's like almost like this higher thing saying, okay, Jason, you still have a few things to deal with here, but we're going to help you out. We're going to help you deal with them.
And here comes the fire.
And here comes the fire. And here it comes. It's still, so there's still stuff there to work on, right?
Yeah.
And so I can look at it, I can see it now as these gifts, these amazing gifts, but it's not pleasant all the time, right?
Yeah.
It's not all joy.
No. And you know what, Jason, it's okay to be angry and allow those emotions to permeate. I remember this incident that I've been going through. It's a crisis. It's a crisis that's going on, and I'll share with you later. But for now, there was, I remember looking at my husband and going, I got to do Ho'oponopono. I got to do Ho'oponopono, because I knew that if I continued to text, or that I continued to speak to that person, or I continued to do that, I would become them. I would become just like them. And we've got to have enough self-control to say, I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to, I mean, it's like, it's out here. It's out here. I won't let that person get in here. Mm-hmm. Because if this person gets in here, then evil wins. And that, and I've known enough with all the people that I've interviewed in my lifetime, or in the last 9 years, I will tell you that I've learned this, that if I don't release it, and I shared this with you, and I had the name, and of course I don't have it right now because I wasn't planning on talking about this, but there is a psychiatrist or a philosopher, or maybe it was a psychiatrist about 100 years ago, that said that when sadness is not expressed with tears, it makes other organs weep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That to me just
that's beautiful.
Blew me away. I don't know. I don't know if we talked about that last time we were together.
I don't think I've heard that one before. I love that. I love that.
And so that is
disease.
Is
important, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. It is important to feel and to express and to get it out there in ways. But as you said, if we allow it to consume us and swallow us up, then and this has been my awakenings, a few awakenings this year. If we allow it to consume us and swallow us up, then we are not good for ourselves, and we are not good for anyone else. And we then begin to contribute to what, as you said, what we don't want. And can I just tell you the story? Like even
Absolutely.
with the fires going on earlier this year, and I was getting so wrecked about it. Like I was emotional and every day. But what the problem was I was tuning in to the news all the time.
Oh yeah.
I had the fire app, and I'm watching it like literally 24/7, and it swallowed me up, and I went into this dark state. But then there was some awareness, and I just thought to myself, maybe it was the whispers from God, right?
Yeah.
And it just said, Jason, what are you doing? Like you're really upset, you're angry, you're depressed, and who are you serving? You're not serving yourself, and you are certainly in no state to do the work you're doing right now. So what are you going to do to change this? And in one night, it was an awakening, and I realized that I had been swallowing up all the media coverage, just taking it all in 24/7 with the phone app. The next day, no more news. I maybe watch 15 minutes at night. That is it. No more app. Deleted the app. I don't need to keep checking it. I will find out if the fire comes to my hometown. I'm sure I will.
Yeah. Or,
And
go like this,
yeah,
sniff.
yes.
I smell something. I better go check.
Yes. And within one night, the weight was gone.
Isn't
and
it
was
amazing?
lifted. And so I was ready to carry on to do work of service to other people. And it was like an amazing transformation overnight.
Well, the spell was broken, Jason.
The spell was broken. Yes. And this similar thing has happened to COVID too, of me getting angry, and then just go, okay, what are you doing now? Okay, you're taking all of this in. You've allowed it to overstep the mark, and it's come into your heart, and now you are no good for anyone.
Yeah.
And you are doing exactly what you didn't want to do.
That's right.
That's right. And so now I've come to that awareness too, and now I'm like, oh, okay, now let's go back to love. Let's go. And I'm not saying this is not about giving up or anything like that, or throwing the towel in, but it's really about that focus of where I want my attention to go. And my attention, an important part for me is to be of service to people, to love. And I can't sit here and record guided meditations if I'm in a terrible state of mind.
Yeah.
It's not, doesn't work.
Yeah. Especially with Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you. Just doesn't have the same as Jason Stephenson meditations. I'm telling you.
I'll tell you what though, if Ho'oponopono, if you even started with that, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. If you kept going with that, that would change anyway, because it's those that's so powerful. You would just begin to just settle down.
It's a tenderizer of your heart. It's for sure a tenderizer and I love that story that you told us about your experience with Ho'oponopono, with that dog that would chase you every time. Do you want to share the story?
Absolutely, yeah. It's an Alsatian. I'd been doing Ho'oponopono for a little bit of time, and I decided to do it on my walk when I had my beautiful little Dharma dog with me, and we'd go for a walk every morning. And this one particular morning, I decided to do it. And for those that don't know, it's I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It's working on ourselves to better ourselves, and then we can help to better the community at large. Mm-hmm. So I was doing this time, and every other morning I'd been walking past this house for years, and there was a big Alsatian guard dog. He would always bark, always. And so I'd brace myself, like I'd get ready for it every time we went past. It's like, okay, put up with it. Come on, let's go, Dharma, quickly, let's pass through. This one time, I just thought, okay, I'm going to do a Ho'oponopono today. So just walking down the street, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, repeating this mantra over and over again. Began to walk past this big Alsatian, And I noticed he still sat there, and I just kept going. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the dog continued to sit there the whole time, just watching me. And I'm like, what? So he was not agitated. Maybe he felt the energy from me of just love and peace, and the dog was not agitated, and I was blown away, absolutely blown away. That mantra, Ho'oponopono, is powerful.
It is. It is.
And I mean, the guy that that come up with that, that brought it to the prisons in Hawaii, I mean, he helped with the prisoners there to release the prisoners, the people in the institution.
It was isn't it a mental institution?
Yeah,
People
just
had a
through
lot of
working
problems.
on himself. People didn't give him much hope. They just said, "Oh, that won't work." And he was working on himself, and they ended up all being released. They were able to be released.
It's a beautiful story, and it's a beautiful, that encompasses the mindset of God. Many people think that forgiveness, and you and I have talked a lot about forgiveness. It's one of my favorite topics to be able to talk about and help people realize that forgiveness is for us, not necessarily for the person who's wronged you, or maybe you wronged somebody else. But that forgiveness is so important because we sometimes hold the shame and the blame. And even if we have been forgiven, we haven't forgiven ourselves. And so when we talk about the mindset of God, we think God's going to punish us. But really, God doesn't punish us. It's the consequences in our life that we feel, and we blame God for it because we don't want to take responsibility for what we've done. Do you want to add anything to that? I see you nodding your head, Jason.
I was just going to say, it's almost like the Buddhism thing of karma, of things catch up to us, and there's no God Almighty power that will condemn us for that stuff. It's just what we put out there is returned, and there's no escaping that, right? There's no underhanded stuff. If you do underhanded stuff, it will come back to you. There's no escaping it.
There's no escaping it.
If you put out that love and the being of service to people, and it finds its way back to you with greatness, it will find its way back to you. But yeah.
It's the mindset. We have got to realize that the first thing that we need to work on is our mindset. For us to look at somebody, and this is what, I notice is that whenever I take a stand, for example, and there are people who don't want me to take a stand because they want me to do what they want to do. They will criticize me for my stand, but they're doing the exact opposite. I don't criticize them for their stand. They can do whatever they want. Mask wearing being one. I just interviewed Mickey Willis of the documentary Plandemic.
Oh, wow.
I just interviewed him. And, some of the things that...
I need to track that back.
Okay.
Have a look at that. Yeah.
Yes. It was just phenomenal. He's such a nice guy. And that he's done all this and he's been able to bring truth. Now, people will look at him and criticize him for doing exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
The people, when they'll say, "I can't believe that they're wearing a mask," and they'll tear them to pieces. But then the people that aren't wearing a mask, they'll say, "I can't believe they're wearing a mask." They'll tear them to pieces. So at what point do we stop and say, that's what power of the freedom of choice, a freedom of consent, information, the power of information. And so, and Mickey, amazingly enough, has not sold this. He had I can't remember. And Robert, if you can write down how much it was, but it was like a $8 million contract to sell his Plandemic movie.
Wow.
And he did not. You can rebroadcast it if you want with their permission, which I think I'm going to do that,
I think you can even download it, and you can do all the downloads and
all of it. You can do all of that, and you can do it with their permission because they wanted the information out. Now tell me, that there's not good in the world. There is a lot of good in the world, and we have got to stop. And I want to take a little break, and I want to encourage you guys to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, because speaking of which, if I were to put this in my Facebook page or YouTube, I would be taken down. So I want to make sure that if any of you want the pandemic, if you become a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com, you will have that. I think I put it in, like, I think it was last week or the week before. It's in my blog. So you need to become a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com. While you're there, please subscribe and follow and like me and share, because the classroom is being garbled with algorithms. And by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube and if you're getting lots of advertisement, let me know, because they're turning on and off these switches that I have turned off, so that there are. Is that happening to you? Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll circle back at that. We'll write that down. Yeah.
I'm telling you, even through my meditations, I just got something, and boxes that I'm not even ticking, they're ticking.
They're ticking them, and they will turn them off, and then they'll turn them on without you noticing. And then you have to, it's crazy. So this is what I need from all of you. I need from all of you to make sure that you spread the word. Look at who we have in this classroom today, Jason Stephenson. Where else, other than in Jason Stephenson's house, can you find Jason Stephenson in all Jason Stephen meditation, but live and interacting? And we're going to be checking your questions in a little minute. But I want to make sure that you like and subscribe to the website and YouTube and BitChute. If you haven't done BitChute yet, you must go to my BitChute account, because they're saying that everybody in October is going to be taken down that doesn't say the same thing. If that happens, then you can find me at whenyouneedafriend.com and BitChute. But there's more. You see all these people here? I need for you to scroll to my sponsors page. Sponsors like Keep Me Safe Organics. And by the way, I have my little headset for my Brain Tap, and I was telling Jason about Brain Tap and how wonderful it is. So I have Brain Tap, First Alternative Care, which you can get telemedicine for your entire family, and that's medical, dermatology, unlimited, and 3 hours a year of behavioral health counseling for your entire household. You got to go to my website and find First Alternative Care for $19.99 for your entire household. So if you live in the United States, or if you're traveling abroad, you still can use them for your entire household. And we have the pharmacy in Merritt Island, who has taken a stand and say, we believe in what you're saying. And even though we're not coming onto your classroom, we will support you. And Live Longer Medical, making it as beautiful on the inside out. Keep Me Safe Organics, I think I said. And all these, you get 10% off. Keep Me Safe Organics are synthetic-free organic beauty products. Those are the beauty products that I use. And of course, we have our affiliate sponsors. Like I mentioned, Brain Tap, we have Ground Therapy, and we have Avasia, which I've used to manage pain after a car accident that I've been in. And it's all frequency, no pill, because my registered service mark is you can take a pill, you can take responsibility. And then you can become an enrolled student in the classroom by donating your time, your talent, your treasure. Whether you can donate $1 or $1,000 a month, we need you. We have lost a majority of our sponsors. Right now, primarily, we have affiliates. That's it. So we could use your help to help us grow. So if you know somebody that's like-minded, send them our way. But do whatever you can to be a part of it. Whether it's, if you know people and you spread the word, do it, please. And Jason, we're really excited that you're here today. And of course, Jason Stephenson Meditation is where you can find him, or Empowered Sleep Formula.com. So that's JasonStevensonMeditation.net. That's right. I was just correcting myself. Okay. Yeah. So Jason, I want you to tell us about what happened to you when all your meditations now automatically had commercials.
Yeah, this is actually still ongoing. I just got a message even last night, and then I went back to check the box. We make sure that our commercials are placed at the beginning only of a meditation,
Me
and the
too.
reason being is because this supports my whole entire team.
That's right.
Having that one commercial, I know it's probably annoying, but that supports us to continue to make content. That's the way that
It's
lifetime
free.
works.
It's free content,
Free
right,
content.
Jason?
Yes.
And for people to complain about that,
Yeah. Now that's okay. Most don't complain about it, but when they begin to place the adverts in the middle of a sleep
horrible.
meditation, and it scares people and it awakens people in a different way. It doesn't mind and power awakening them, but and when we haven't ticked that box, but I go back in to check and the box is ticked, this is unfortunately happening more and more. And we've let YouTube know. Of course, they're aware, I think, right at the top. And I find it difficult because I don't like speaking out against YouTube. I honestly don't, because
We're so grateful. We're grateful to
we are
them.
grateful, but there's stuff going on like this that's very frustrating and unfair. And yeah,
So you had to manually uncheck. I had to
yes,
manually
we had
uncheck
to,
all those.
yes, we had to go through the whole entire channel. It took 3 staff to do that because we've got over 1,000, 1,800 videos on two or three channels. But then even once we've done that, then it's happened again. And just even now, we're starting to see it again. And I'm like, oh my goodness, and it can actually destroy my work and my channel, because people will go, oh, Jason's putting in the adverts, and we're not putting in the adverts. Why would I do that?
No.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
To spoil your journey and the work that I've done, for the meditation. So it's very frustrating. But hopefully, this will stop. But I'm not sure. I know that there's stuff going on with Google Australia. It could be the testing ground for the world, actually. That they've already warned us that basically they will be pushing top media channels at the front of all searches. And this is happening very soon. And they said everyone else, everything, doesn't matter whether you're political, whether you're music, whether you're any channel, everything else will be pushed down. And all the powerful media companies, Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 10, the mainstream narrative that they want people to believe and nothing else, that will be pushed forward, everything else dropped down. And they said, I even had information that they were concerned that they were using Australia as a testing ground for this. And then if it successful for the media companies, they'll send it out to the whole world, and then it will destroy many small YouTube channels.
It's very hard to even believe. And so
it is hard to believe.
And Jason, I didn't even ask you, are you going to have some time afterwards to answer questions? We have some questions there for you. Will you have some time? Okay, we'll establish how much time. We only have a couple of minutes left, Jason, on the podcast. I didn't even mention podcasts. We have podcasts, all the podcasts. The Lillian McDermott radio show is on podcast. So if you prefer that, please feel free to go there. I used to say that it was uncensored, but I just recently had to reapply for iTunes. So iTunes is back, which is but those little things that they do that we can't control. So for those of you who are listening on podcast right now, please know that we have the teacher's pets after the class. And so you're welcome to join us. And so Jason, if there's anything about the mindset of God that you would like to leave behind before we do the teacher's pet corner, what would you like to say?
Could I just leave with I've actually listened to Michael Beckwith's words I heard last night. Can I just leave you with a quote here about that?
Yes.
And I love his work, and he helped me out of a dark patch a while back. And he says, and this is about mindset, and he says, you can begin right now to feel healthy. you can begin to feel prosperous. You can begin to feel the love that's surrounding you, even if it's not there. And what will happen is the universe will correspond to the nature of your song. And I loved that quote. And I think that you can replace universe with God. God will correspond to the nature of your song.
That is beautiful, Jason. That is so beautiful. And it's up to us. It is absolutely up to us. And if we're feeling that discontentment, just know that we are not living in the mindset of God. And it is up to us to do the shifting. Jason Stephenson, it's always so wonderful to have you in the classroom. And I'm looking forward to our Teacher's Pet section in just a little bit. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Jason Stephenson wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. There you go.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so I'm looking on Facebook. If you guys have a question, you make sure you put in a Q. I see a lot of statements, so I want to thank you all for being a teacher's pet and sitting in the front row. I love all the hearts. I'm telling you, Jason, no one gets more hearts than you. No one. You have some loving fans.
I certainly do. They're beautiful people. I know that. Very,
Yes.
very beautiful people.
Yes. Okay, so we have a question. It says, Dear Jason, how do you compare Buddhism to the Tao Te Ching? I don't know if I'm saying this right, to help us find more joy and clarity in life? How do you compare Buddhism to the Tao?
I don't compare. I actually don't compare Buddhism to the Tao. I love the Tao Te Ching, and I've spoken about that quite often, but I don't compare. I just, whatever I pick up at the time, I get the goodness from that, and I do my best to live that. And same with Buddhism, and same with Christianity or with God. I do my best not to compare, and they seem to work all alongside each other anyway. They work alongside each other. So yeah, that's what I can say about that one.
We are one. That's
We are
why
one.
we are one. And, we've deluded ourselves into believing in a very, very, very incomplete God. We put our mindset like, oh, God's going to punish me. God's not going to love me. God has stayed away from me. But that's really what I believe, not what God believes. God's mind is about, Dr. Day always gives the example. If you love your child and you say, I love you, I think you are just absolutely wonderful. But if you do anything wrong, I'm going to burn you in hell. She said, that's not the God of the Bible. That's the God of the church. That's the God of the church versus the God of the Bible. Fire, broom, damnation.
Yes.
Says that's not, she said the devil created that version of God to keep God from our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And that, isn't that, I was like, oh, she says some things. I'm like, oh, I know she just poked that person in the eye. Yes. She's poked me in the eye so many times, but I love that about her. She challenges us to think outside the box. Sometimes too much.
It's hard. It's hard, difficult, right?
Yes, it is. Okay, so we have another question. It says, any thoughts regarding all spirituality of the NDR, near-death experiences so many in the world have experienced? Do you have anything to say to that? Have you ever had a near-death experience?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, I haven't about that. I'm not too sure about that, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. That's okay. That's okay. And let me see, do I have any more questions? Oh yeah, okay. So it says, I had trouble with stars going on your page. Do you know why? Stars.
That could be Facebook stars, is it? The
You mean the
donation
little?
thing? Yeah, it's like a donation thing. Stars now they have Facebook.
Really?
That.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that's sweet.
yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't know about that, but I could certainly look into that. I could ask staff because I'm not on there much, so I really don't know. But thank you very much, even if you were trying. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. I'll have to look into that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sharon wants to say, okay, she has a question, says, what is it like to be in so many people's heads in the middle of the night? That's a cute question, Sharon.
Yeah, yeah. Cheryl, is it? Cheryl.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Yeah.
Oh man, I honestly don't think much about it. Uh, I will tell you though, it was I was a testimonial to myself the other few weeks back because I was going through a rough patch and I thought, I'm going to listen to some of my meditations. I need to try this and see if it works because I was having trouble sleeping when mine was going. And I listened to one that was a heal meditation and it did work. And I was so excited. The next morning I woke up because I didn't even get to hear the end of the meditation. I slept and I was like, wow, it does work after all this time.
Absolutely.
So,
Jason,
but
your stuff is really good. Go ahead, keep going.
yeah, so it's just an honor that I would have never have thought that my work at the time when I first started this was going to reach like literally millions of people. I would have never have thought that. So it's an honor. I just do my best each time, every day. When I record the meditations, that's all I can do. I just do my best. And if it helps, as I said, when I record that meditation, if it can just help one person, I'm like, wow, that's a gift. So yeah, that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, and you do so much. And for those of you who want to ask questions, make sure you type in a Q before your question, and then I will read it out loud. And sometimes I must warn you that the the print is very, very small. So, okay. So Barbara wants to say, someone here is using my picture, but it's not me.
Oh.
Posting hearts emoji, but I'm not doing it. Feels like
Okay.
someone has hacked me.
No. Can I actually say something about that? And this is a
Yes,
problem.
please.
Someone else has told me this as well. And this is a Facebook thing. I don't believe this is someone that's hacked you, Barbara, because this is something that has gone on a few times. And people that aren't hacked, it's like Facebook are messing with the algorithms and they're doing things. Honestly, I'm not being conspiracy theorist about this. I've heard it before, and I don't believe you're hacked. I believe it's a thing that something is going wrong. It could be a bug in the system of Facebook as well. But I will even say, even I was on my phone once and pushing hearts on Facebook, and I saw it on the screen and they were not coming up
Oh,
on the desktop. So yeah, you don't have to, I'm pretty sure you won't have to worry about that. And yeah,
yeah.
it-
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize that that was happening, but there's a lot of things happening. And I always ask people to share my links by texting people, because even if you're like, I was on YouTube and Facebook and no one got notifications. No one got I had David Icke in the classroom. I don't know if you know who David Icke is.
yes, I know David Icke very well. Yes.
Yeah, he was in the classroom. And then I had Dr. Brzezinski, Stanislaw Brzezinski, who was in court because he helped heal people with cancer using their own peptides. And
Wow.
he was in a 35-year battle with the FDA. It was horrible. There should
Wow.
have been thousands of people notified about this, but it's not happening. And
So,
my
so
accounts had been hacked. But you know what? One of the things we didn't talk about the mindset of God and the purpose of pain in your life is to help us build muscle. Does anything surprise you now, Jason, when you are passionate about something? Does anything slow you down? Will anything keep you down? Because every time something happens, you just get stronger.
for sure, absolutely stronger and stronger and stronger. This strength is it's bubbling away, right? And I'm
Yeah,
feeling, yeah, I'm getting stronger and protecting myself more. But that's to it's not about greed or anything. It's protecting myself more so I can still continue to give more and to be of
sure.
greater service.
Yeah,
That's why I
yeah,
do it. And many people, I know some of my fans might think that I'm almost disassociating myself, and in some ways maybe I am, but I don't mean to be callous about doing this. I just feel that things were just beginning to fall down a little.
mhm,
I was taking on too much, and there was too many messages, and I couldn't cope with it. I couldn't deal with it, and so I
yeah,
had to strengthen myself and had to, I guess, even return to strip back everything and return to love again and
mhm,
simplicity of
yeah.
life.
Wasn't it wonderful that you became aware of it, Jason? Because you could have gone on and on and on and on with this, which people self-sabotage all the time. We all do that at one point or another, but to have that awareness that I am discontent with my life right now. And I always say, when I coach people and they say to me, I'm not happy, and I'm like, yes. And they're like, what? You're aware that you're not happy. So now what do you want? You don't want to be unhappy. So what do you want? And that's,
Yeah,
it's just shifting the mindset.
yes, it is.
Awareness is key. And how wonderful. How many people do you know that you ask, how are you doing? Fine. How are you doing? Fine. Don't talk to me. I'm fine. It's like, they're not fine. How are you really? How are you really? So,
Yes, it's like this automated response, right? That we,
yeah, yeah. Okay, so Pat wants to know, are you ever coming back on Facebook?
Oh, Pat, yes, I am. And yes, I will do. I'm going to drop in, and I've said this, but I'm going to drop in and do some live streams. Yes, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, and
Yes.
you always welcome to come on mine.
Thank you.
Just opening the invitation.
Drop in, just yes.
You can just, we can schedule it because I know that
Yes,
dropping in was.
of course you got to. Yes, of course.
Oh, excuse me, David. There's Jason.
Oh, just
That,
hi guys.
and I would welcome it at any time. You'll be my Zoom bomber. Jason Stevens, I could just see the headline, Zoom bomber.
I would have
Okay.
loved to have dropped into David Icke. I would have loved to have been
He was amazing.
yeah, that would have been an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I need to track that one back as well.
Yeah. Go to my YouTube channel, my Facebook channel, my BitChute channel, all those
Okay.
things. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any more cues? Okay. Sharon has another one. Have you experienced many fires where you live?
I'm in South Australia now, so there wasn't so much here. There was some, but back where I lived in New South Wales, especially this year,
Uh-huh.
the whole entire state, literally from one end right down to the other, was completely on fire. And interestingly enough, my city, Wollongong, we were surrounded by fire. And no one copped it in that section.
Wow.
But it was right through the whole entire state, right down to Victoria, right up to Queensland. But we did not get it. We were getting all the smoke from everywhere. But my goodness, yeah, that was.
But you know what? Do you know about the Ring of Fire? Have you heard about the Ring of Fire?
Tell me about that.
So when there's a fire out of control, burning out of control, they burn a ring of fire to protect that fire from going through it. And
Yes.
so I
That's
I I have
yes.
this vision whenever someone is poking me in the eye or trying to hurt me, I put that ring of fire around them. That's why I know about the ring of fire, because when I heard that the firefighters do this, I thought we can do this too with people who are hurting us. We can
That's
put a
right.
ring of fire around them so that they cannot cross through to us.
Yes. Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes. They the I'm trying to think, be politically correct here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to say just the Aboriginals.
Okay.
They did this to
Oh.
protect the land. I think that's where it even comes from.
There you go. So
You know?
they knew what the ring of fire, and
Yes.
I call it the ring of love, because if you would take that, just picture a person. You can do it with the physical fire, or you can do it with a person. You can do it, and you can just visualize it, and that mindset. I always picture God just putting these ring of fires around us to protect
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
And
And I
that's
wanted to
wonderful.
actually say indigenous people, but anyway, that's
Well,
okay.
I mean, what other names are there? I mean, we get so easily offended.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
people that are native.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
Okay. So Barbara, let me see. Where else do I have? Let me see if I find any more cues without any more hearts. And hello, everybody that is here. I'm just so excited. I thought I saw a bunch of cues. Where are they? Okay.
Mhm.
Lillian, will you send me a friend request, please? You can go to Lillian's radio show. I will tell you guys that I have a personal page that is for my family only, family and close friends only. And the reason why is they want to protect their privacy. So only people. So I'm sorry. You're welcome to join me at Lillian's radio show. You can join me at the Heal Tribe. You can join me at the I Am 99. I don't know if that's what you're meaning, John. I would love to have you in all those with us. Let's see, where else? I saw some. I think I flew right past them. Let me go check on the other. Okay. And YouTube. Let me see. I think I asked all the questions on YouTube, but and again, if you don't put a Q, I don't know if it's a question, because there's lots. That's another thing, Jason. When you come on, lots of comments, and I love the comments that we get when you're around. The people are so lovely and very kind and compassionate. So I just want to make sure I get everybody. If you have a question and I haven't read your question, feel free to. Okay. I've seen ballet at Sydney Opera House in my 20s. Have you? This is for you, Jason. I'm in Minnesota and so much love Australia.
Wow. I'm almost ashamed to admit that I still have never seen a full ballet at the Sydney Opera House. Never. And people look at me, you haven't? I said, no, I haven't, but one day I will. I will for sure. I hear it's just absolutely just breathtakingly beautiful. So
Yeah.
one day. So there you go.
Yeah. You and I have talked about, you got me here or I'm going over there. I'd love to travel. And it's a shame what's happening now where we're not allowed to travel. And speak of, I would love to hear from you and all of you that watch the classroom with Mickey Willis. And he is an amazing, amazing guy. And he was sharing what his aha moment was he was in New York when the towers went down. And he decided to do some search and rescue because, again, all the bombardment. And that's one of the reasons I thought of this story, is because, he noticed in 2001 that what was really happening in New York, with people helping each other, not caring that they were breathing asbestos. They were pulling people out. They were bringing things and helping each other out. Nobody reported on that. And that was life-changing. He was very famous in Hollywood and decided to walk away from that. And now he dedicates his life to telling the stories, telling these stories. He's just amazing.
What a beautiful man. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, Beth, is this question for Jason or me? Because Jason, I'm writing a book and Jason he's a contributor in my book and it will blow you away. I think you've written books, right, Jason?
No, I've written a chapter in a book and now, yeah.
So the question is from, where are you? Let me see, where did it go? It's from Beth. Would you ever consider writing a book? So would you?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
It may happen one day. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then we have, how are your studies coming along, Jason? This is from Tanya.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. My studies are good. I've finished the first subject. I still, even though they've promised the results, the gradings, they've still not sent them through. But yes, it was a tough time because it was an intense. It wasn't like a normal university subject where you spread it out over 2 or 3 months. It was 5 weeks intensive subjects. And so it was that on top of working, and it was quite intense. But yes, I learned a lot, and I'm so glad I've done that. I'm supposedly meant to do another subject now in November, and preparations in October. This may be put off until next year. So I'm just going easy on myself.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you for asking.
And Anne wants to know, are you allowed to travel in Australia now? Can you go back to Wollongong Windag?
Windag, yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yes. Look, the rules are changing literally every day, every single day. They're telling us one thing and another. And, I had friends that moved here and they had to give two weeks notice, like apply for a visa to come into this state and then isolate. And people are getting knocked back for these visas. So it's crazy. And then when we come back here, what I'm concerned about, I could go back to Wollongong, but then I'm concerned that if something goes wrong and they say, sorry, they're closing the South Australian borders, and then I'm stuck there and it's really fragile times at the moment. So everything's sort of up in the air and you take it on literally a day by day or week by week basis.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the way it is.
So Sharon wants to know if you have children.
No children.
I knew the answer to this. I didn't know if I figured they were asking you.
Not that I know of.
Hey, Elaine Boozler, I don't know if you know who she is, but she was a comedian in the 90s. And I loved Elaine Boozler. And she had a line that would make me just fall to the ground. You know how men can say that and it be true. But a woman, she would say, I don't have any kids. Well, none that I know of. That's funny. I don't care who you are, but that's funny. That's Elaine Boozler.
That's great.
Love her.
Love that.
Okay. So Liz is in London and there's lots of restrictions. We have a lot of UK followers here in the classroom. This is a worldwide classroom and it's amazing. This is a global issue. And this is a fight of good and evil. This is truly a fight of good and evil. And this is the time to get closer to God. This is a time to learn about the God of the Bible and the true God, not the God that somebody tries to control. A long time ago, Jason, I don't know if you remember this. We couldn't pray to God. We used to have to go to the priest, and the priest did all the praying and the sacrificing and all of that. That's not God. Who created that God? The devil? It's like, I don't want you to get to know God, so I'm going to get in between. And one thing that I always say is that, the Bible, and when you look at the Bible was translated. It was inspired by God and translated by man who had an agenda. So we have got to stop and we need to unplug from the television and watch these classes, listen to Jason's meditations, and start the deprogramming process. We're learning so much about
Opening,
all that's happening
opening
there.
our hearts and opening our minds. And this takes a bit of work.
Yes.
This takes work.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And oh, there's a question there from QB. It says, and I think it says, why did you start your meditative journey? I noticed you shared that you tried it and it really worked, LOL. But similarly, I tried with students, and as a result, I received the benefits that I thought were for them.
Mm, mm.
That's wonderful, Obi.
Yeah, yeah. When did I start the meditation? Is that kind of what it was?
Yes, it's
Why?
why did you start
Yeah,
your meditative journey?
yeah, yeah. Look, really from age of 16 years of age, that's when I had I went to my first meditation class with my mum. My mum invited me. And back then it was more of sort of some sort of mystical thing, and I was like, I always had this interest in outer world experiences and things like that. And so I thought, I'm going to that. And of course, it was nothing what I thought it was. But I remember it left me with a sense of peace in my heart and a stillness that as a 16-year-old, that I hadn't even had. And so that stayed with me. That's always stayed with me. And so then, of course, when I was going through some rough times in my life, and a counselor suggested, have you done meditation? I said, well, not much, but I know of it. And she said, I would strongly recommend that for you. And so, of course, started and did a few retreats, etc. And then, that's how it started. And then wanted to share some of that, just some of those basic things on YouTube, and in particular for children, because I wanted children initially to make their life easier,
Yeah.
because, and then so, and that's how the YouTube channel started, was through just that children's meditation.
Yeah, that's wonderful. But isn't it true that if we want to change this world, we have got to train our children in the ways of God? We have to train them to be able to be peaceful and to know how to resolve conflict, and to, sometimes I look at children and how they get upset now, and they look like a Disney character. They pout, they stomp out of the room, they behave like the princesses and the characters of Disney. And I'm thinking, kids are not learning how to express themselves, how to eat well. And if we were to just turn off the television. Some kids are being babysat by noisemakers and, all this programming and
iPads. Yeah.
iPads. Oh, yeah. And the more they watch that and the more there's beeps and all that, the more bored they're going to be in school. And,
Yeah.
so anyway, I know, Jason, there's lots of questions here. And what I'd love to do for the last, I don't know how many minutes, there was a suggestion, and you don't have to take it if you don't want, but I thought that this would be a nice thing to close, because you normally do this, a meditation, but you don't have to. That's my disclaimer. But any chance you could do a meditation on getting through COVID or COVID symptoms. And I thought maybe we can do like that type of keeping that in mind. And if people go to the end of this classroom, they can listen to this meditation on releasing the fear of COVID, which is the common cold.
Yes. Yes. And I will add too that I've also done this meditation as well on called the Great Awakening. If you look that up,
Is it your channel, The Great
yes,
Awakening?
yes, it's something I felt very strongly about, and it's to do with what's happening right at present. I did that early on in the process, so you can tune into that. But yeah, of course, we can end with a meditation.
Okay,
Just
awesome.
a short one, nice short
Okay,
one.
yes. So I'm going to disappear.
Oh, okay. Let's do it, hey? Okay. So you guys know what to do. Just sit down now if you're not already seated down, and keeping that back nice and straight. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, feeling your feet on the floor, and taking in some breaths, breathing in through your nose and breathing all the way down, sending that breath all the way down, feeling that belly expand and release, let go. And again, breathing in and release. One more deep breath. And release. Just returning your breathing now to a comfortable, natural rhythm, nothing forced or strained. And in doing so, just bringing yourself to this present moment, this awareness of now. And this is the reminder that this is all we have, is now. So we can use these next few minutes to strip back everything. Strip back, take away who your name and who you are meant to be, or your job, or where you live. Just take away, just put it aside for even just a few moments. These will still be here when you return, but for now, just get rid of your name, your job, or your titles. Let's keep breathing. And coming to a place of zero, of nothing, and yet contained within that nothing is everything, is potential, is love, is God. Just be with this for a moment as you breathe in and out. Full awareness. And only love. That is who you are. There's nothing to fear here. There's no place that you need to be. Just here, contained in love. I will say some affirmations that you can mentally repeat if you choose to. I am love. I am love. I allow divine consciousness to enter me. I allow divine consciousness to enter me. From today, I let go, I let God. From today, I let go, I let God. I invite true happiness into my life. I invite true happiness into my life. Today I live with all the gratitude in the world. Today I live with all the gratitude in the world. I am free to make my own decisions. I am free to make my own decisions. And I ask myself, how can I be of service to the world? How can I be of service to the world? Just sit with that for a moment. It's time to release all constraints. To be of service, no matter how small. To wake up each morning and ask yourself, how can I love today? How can I show love today? How can I give love today? To make this a better journey for myself and for others. So just taking in a few deep breaths and releasing. And I invite you, no matter what time of the day or night it is, just to continue on your journey and to go with love. To go with love. And when you are ready, just returning, feeling your feet on the floor. You can wriggle your fingers and toes and your shoulders, just coming back. There we go. Thank you.
You're amazing, Jason. I love what God does through you. I love what God does through you. And, you know, you and I talked one time that you used to use your voice to sing, and that was the way that you wanted to be known a long time ago. But now you're using your voice to create consciousness. And that is so much more powerful than singing a song that may not have the, I don't know, the meaningful, that might be not as meaningful to another song. I've even changed the music I'm listening to. And I want people to want to desire to learn more about God and the mindset of God. And one of the I would love to add to people's mantras and meditations and is to be brave and to be bold and to remember God wins. No matter what we go through, God wins. And that's got to be worth something. Wouldn't you say, Jason?
Yes, I do. And thank you for the work that you're doing.
Oh, My pleasure. My pleasure. It's, I was reading today a meditation. I've been reading a daily meditation called My Utmost for His Holiness, My Utmost for His Highest, to His Highest. I can't remember the name right now, but I've been doing a daily meditation. And today's meditation was about that. I just had so many thoughts in my mind, but today's meditation was very powerful about that meaning, just being. I got to read it again because obviously it just escaped my head. I've had such an unbelievable day today, but it had to do with that. So I left my train of thought. Will probably come back. The caboose. It will join the caboose when we're done. It's like my brain's like, you've had enough. You've had enough. But God, what was it about? God, it was about something really, really beautiful today. And as you were doing this meditation, it made me start thinking about that. We just need to stop. We just need to stop and create that moment, those meaningful moments like that, and honor God, the God in us. Be brave, be bold. And I remember now, have passion. Know your passion. Know your no. What is it that you're here for? And Jason, as I was preparing for you, I know that it just fell into you and it became what it is today. And you grabbed it, you said yes. And so I want to encourage all of you to find that purpose and that passion to bring God's consciousness to the world and run with it. Just like you have, Jason. So thank you so much for coming on. I want to encourage you to go to Jason Stephenson Meditations on YouTube, jasonstephenson.net, and also Jason, it's what is it? The empoweredsleepformula.com. Sorry about that. Is there anything else that you would like to promote?
.net.
Oh, empowered also?
Yes, empoweredsleepformula.net. But here's the good news. Even if they go to jasonstephenson.net, it still goes all to the one site. So good. It's all good. At the moment, it's all going to one site.
Empoweredsleepformula.net. And what will they find there, Jason?
I hope I'm right in saying that. Now you're good. Try them both, okay? That's hilarious.
Yeah. So what will they find there at Empowered?
I'm just hold on a moment. I'm checking.
Just keep talking. I'll talk. I'll check.
Oh my goodness, you are right. Oh my goodness. Wow. It's empoweredsleepformula.com. Thank you.
Hey, listen, when you kept correcting me, I believed you.
I don't even know my own website.
That's okay. That's okay, Jason.
That's hilarious.
Your brain is saying we've had enough.
Yes.
What time is it in Australia right now?
It's 8:10 a.m.
Oh, you're just getting started. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being our teacher today and having this conversation with me, because we sometimes need to be reminded that God is in control. We might think we have free will, but no one knows more than God what's best for us. A trillion times smarter than we are. So we could have free will, or we can just say, I want your will. So with that in mind, we will see you. And I know there's some questions. I will check. Jason, maybe you'll want to come onto my Facebook page and answer some of these questions. But I want to thank you all for being a part of the classroom today. And I look forward to, Jason, you coming back and seeing all of you. Okay. I hope you join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, when I'm going to start giving you updates of what's happening in the classroom and more. So we will see you soon. Take care. Bye. Say bye, Jason.